Welcome back to this week's Mounting Yard preview. My name is Bella Anderson. I'm Betfair's Mounting Yard analyst, and this weekend on Saturday we're heading back to Flemington for finals day, and it's going to be a cracking day of racing. Race 2 over the 1400 metres is for the fillies and mares, and I think this is going to be a really open contest. Sione was the pick of the yard last start. It was the best she's looked all preparation, and Pacific Ruby was one of the horses I was really looking forward to seeing return to the races, and boy, she did not disappoint. She looked outstanding. She had done exactly what I wanted to see from her over her break. She's returned a physically stronger, more physically mature horse. She's really filled out into that frame of hers, which she always had the potential to do. She was relaxed. She's matured in her demeanour as well. She had a really bright summer coat, and really delighted with the way Pacific Ruby returned. So second up, she's going to be even fitter and is going to be really in the contest here. Good and Proper and Dazzling Lucy are both mares that hold weight throughout a preparation, so their fitness is hard to judge, but they're definitely hard fit and race fit at this point in time as well. And normal for both She's Pretty Rich and Typhoon Titness to Parade Toey. Race 3 over the 1600 metres for the 2-year-old, and this is where the highlight of the day is going to come up for many people, and that's the promising 2-year-old Stapati looking to make it 4 wins from 4 career starts. And having seen him his most recent 2 parades, I've loved the improvement I've seen from him mentally. Physically, he's always been a really lovely type. He's quite athletic. He's got a really lovely sized frame and well proportioned, particularly for a 2-year-old. He's got a lot of strength and muscle on him, but with a horse that's rising in distance and is going to be a really progressive stayer, the key thing for Stapati was that mental progression I mentioned, because at his second career start, he was quite toey, he was quite nervy, he had 2 strappers, he was a little bit anxious, and that just uses up a little bit of energy pre-race. And when a horse continues to rise in distance, you want to see them relax and progress mentally and settle into themselves a little bit more in the mounting yard, and that's exactly what Stapati did last start. He came into the yard and he was relaxed. He had a really professional demeanour about him, and he was conserving as much energy as possible as he was on that occasion. And looking to see that again from him here today. He's rising up the 200 metres in distance again, which on type is going to be no concern. He definitely looks like a stayer, but the key for him is to see him once again nice and relaxed, but I'm sure we're going to see that from this really progressive and exciting 2-year-old. Race 5, a sprinting event over the 1200 metres for the 3-year-olds, and both Renosu and Legio 10 have had a gap between runs, and not as much of a concern with sprinters. Often fresh is best, but I think their fitness on the day is going to be really crucial, particularly when you're comparing it to Extra 2, who's the hard fit, race fit filly of the field, who's looking to make it 3 wins in a row. Race 6 is for the staying 3-year-olds over the 2500 metres, and I've liked the most recent parades of Verifier, First Immortal and Ain't He Grand. They're all hard fit, and I'm sure they're once again going to be in tip-top order. My Brother's Keeper, he's a really big, huge horse to look at in the mounting yard, and due to this, he's always going to hold weight through his midsection and look quite gross in size, but don't worry, he's definitely hard fit. Wackamunna, he's the interesting one for me last start. I didn't really like his parade last start, albeit winning, because he was quite toey, he had a bit of a tight action, and for me, when I'm looking at a stayer, that's completely not what I want to see. I want to see a nice loose walk and to see them as relaxed as possible, but we saw this certainly didn't slow her down when she won, so I'm going to assume this is normal for her. So if you see Wackamunna toey in the mounting yard on Saturday, don't be deterred. And King's Crossing, totally normal for this horse to get warm as well in the mounting yard. Well, this is my highlight of the day, race 7, the sprint series finals, down the Flemington Straight over the 1200 metres, and this is just going to be a mouth-watering mounting yard. We've got 2 horses resuming who I love on type, and that's Niccoloni, Vito and Pal Dioro. How fit they are is going to be key compared to these other race fit gallopers, but they're certainly beautiful animals to look at in the yard. It's Our Time is the question mark for me in this field. I actually laid him last start. He'd been gone a bit dull in the coat. He was carrying a bit of excess weight. He's a horse I've seen numerous times, and I'd seen him look much better than how he looked last start. And the interesting thing is he's had 4 weeks between runs, so the improvement he's made, maybe he is going to need the run fitness-wise. He's the real question mark for me. It's Our Time. Sai, she was the pick of the yard last start. She had the most radiant, glowing summer coat on her. She was dappled up, and like I said, she looked like she was parading in the middle of summer. It was really delightful to see, and she's fit, she's strong, she's just perfect to look at. Invincible Caviar is the other question mark for me in this mounting yard. We laid her first up for Betfair. She was really big in condition. She is a big mare, so I expected her to probably need the race fitness, but I was quite surprised at how much improvement she had to come is the best way to say it. She didn't have as much muscle definition as I'd like to see over her hind quarter, and I think her race told that as well. She really peaked late. So she's had 5 weeks between runs, which is certainly less than ideal as well, I think, considering I want her to have that race fitness. So I'm definitely going to be interested to see how Invincible Caveat looks on the day, considering she's always been a favourite of mine just because she is such a beautiful mare to look at. So 2 question marks for the race and a few gallopers who are going to look absolutely outstanding. Race 8 is the feature event of the day. It's the Winter Championship final over the mile, and Charterhouse is the current favourite. I think his parade on Saturday is going to be really crucial because he's had 4 weeks between runs, so fitness is going to be a question mark. So stay tuned for how he parades on Saturday. King Magnus, he's a favourite of mine. He was the pick of the yard when he won last start. He looked in outstanding order, but he too has had 4 weeks between runs due to a concerning blood test that the stable received, so they had to scratch him from one of his races. So the thing with this is I'm worried the stable might have gone easy on his workload just to make sure that they weren't overworking him during that time off due to him perhaps not feeling 100%, like I said, due to those poor blood results. So interesting to see how King Magnus returns, but hopefully all is well with him because, like I said, he's normally a tip-top parader and is a very tough, honest horse on the racetrack regardless. Jimmy the Bear, Unusual Culture, River Plate and Keats, they're all as fit as possible. I think they're the horses to beat because they've got that race fitness on their side and they're going to be here as fit as they can possibly be and with their best foot forward. Well, that's a wrap on this week's Mounting Yard preview. Hopefully you've learnt a few things about what to look for on the Mounting Yard on Saturday, and make sure you stay tuned to both Betfair and I's Twitter platforms on Saturday to receive the live Mounting Yard mail with the updates on how the horses are parading, how fit they are, and who I think's a back and who I think's a lay.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.